What is your perspective? Next on the S&P Forex and Futures Weekly Trade Review. My name is Mark Principato. I'm the director of the S&P Forex and Futures training program here at SMBU, and I also operate the website unconventionaltrader.com. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a very common problem that I notice with newer traders. This problem has to do with being distracted by smaller time frames and a lot of noisy price action. In other words, newer traders lack perspective. And perspective is not a very difficult thing to find. It has to do with looking at broader time frames and understanding how to utilize this information. If you notice on my weekly analysis videos, I always start out with a larger time frame. I look at the 4-hour chart. I do this purposely. This is part of my analytical process. I'm looking for perspective. So in this video, I want to give you a sense of how I do that so it can further help your trading and help you gain perspective on your trades. The reason why this is important, by the way, is because it can affect your decision making and your expectations on the smaller time frames. For example, if you're looking for scalping or day trading type opportunities, your bigger picture has an effect. You cannot forget about it. So let's talk a little bit about the bigger picture. Right here I have the euro dollar. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart. Now on this chart you'll notice I have this retracement measurement which gives me a resistance zone that we've been monitoring every day in our chat room. Now this is not the perspective, okay? The perspective comes when I'm all the way zoomed out, okay? When I'm as far zoomed out as I possibly can be, and I'm not distracted by this. I'm looking at all the historical price action and how that relates to where we are now. That is how I'm gathering perspective. So for example, what we have here in this market, generally speaking, on the broader picture is we have a large series of higher lows and higher highs. We can't argue with that. This whole section is a higher low because these lows are higher than this low and previous lows, and price has continued to push above this range high and even this swing high. All that sums up to general signs of strength. So the bigger picture perspective says that the euro is still strong. It's actually that simple. Now the problem is people will take that too literally and say, oh, it's still strong, that means I should buy it. No, that doesn't mean you buy it here just because it's strong. We have to time our entry to take the lowest risk possible. Sure, you can buy it here, but you're taking a very high risk. Chances are this thing is going to pull back significantly, especially since it's inside of a resistance zone. Now some people may say, oh, if you think that, why don't you short it then? Because I don't have enough information to short it. This may eventually become a short, but at the moment, my perspective says there is no information to take that type of trade. If I took a short, that would be a random trade, and it may work out randomly. I'm not looking for random trades. I'm looking for trades that I have more of an advantage. I want to be able to take trades where my risk is very limited and is more likely to go my way, not random. So as we zoom in, if we look at smaller levels here, we can take this perspective apart and look at it in different magnitudes. The largest magnitude, of course, is bullish because we have higher high, higher low, higher high. Even though it's not a dramatic higher high, it's still a little higher. It's a bullish perspective. The market is telling us it's generally strong. Now I can take an intermediate magnitude, basically just look at this section here, from here, and I could say this is more of a neutral to bullish market. Why? Because it was range bound for a while and it just basically broke out of the range. The range high was defined by this high, the range low by this low. We are just outside of that range, inside of a resistance zone. It's moderately bullish, but it's not dramatically bullish because we're not outside of the resistance zone. okay? And in my very small term, I could say we're bullish. Why? We have higher lows and higher highs, pretty clear cut. So what does all that mean? When I put all that together, that means that if I'm looking to take longs, I should expect more from supports. I should expect a little bit more from longs. Okay? It doesn't mean I'm going to take a long and expect hundreds of pips. It depends on what level I'm taking the long. But I should know that longs are going to be more favored than shorts. If I get short setups, especially on very small time frames, I should expect very little from them, or I shouldn't bother with them at all. They're going to be more aggressive trades. In this environment, resistances are more likely to break. That doesn't mean you go long at a resistance break. You still have to wait for setups. And setups are the second step of this whole analytical process. So I just wanted to give you a little taste of how I gather perspective in these currencies. You can also use this for stocks and other futures contracts as well. Also, I want to mention that I'm actually in the process of developing an on-demand video series that's going to cover this type of analysis, and it's going to go through 4 different steps. The first step, of course, is going to be perspective in a lot more detail. The second step is going to cover how we determine support and resistance levels and what we look for at those levels. The third step, or installment, is going to be an introduction to the validation process. And of course, the fourth installment is going to be trade management, stop placement, and how to consider the market as price action unfolds. That's basically thinking on your feet. This is going to be a 4 installment series, about 30 minutes each, and will be available soon from SMBU. So I hope you find this information helpful once again. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about my series, please let me know. I hope you found my information informative, and I hope it helps you develop your trading skills further. My name is Mark Principato, and I will see you next time.